Hey guys, what's up? It's Joe Rady from Rady's Rides. I have one thing to say, champagne wishes and caviar dreams, because guess what? I have that one luxury brand that's been doing it for decades. Who is it? It's with this vehicle here. It's a 2024 Rolls-Royce Ghost. But before we get into Rolls-Royce's smallest vehicle, if you could believe that, let's talk about what's going on here. There's that British brand that's been around for decades, Rolls-Royce, really doing things on a different level from what the competition was bringing. And what's fascinating is that Rolls-Royce actually started as an airplane engine manufacturer. And a lot of the people who were breaking land speed records back in the day, before they were even doing it at the Bonneville Salt Flats, they were using airplane engines, specifically Rolls-Royce airplane engines. Fast forward to the 21st century, no other name, when you say it, especially when it comes to car brands, brings a level of opulence and luxury like Rolls-Royce. Now, what's fascinating is, like I said at the beginning of this video, the Ghost is their smallest vehicle in their lineup. You have the Ghost, you have the Phantom, and then of course you have the Cullinan, which is their first ever full-size luxury SUV. Now what's interesting is that on the previous generation of this car, it actually sat on a BMW 7 Series chassis. But I'm very happy to report that once they started the new generation, that's when it has its own bespoke Rolls-Royce chassis. So what I want to find out is, if you're looking for the ultimate in luxury, in style, in just that over exuberance of everything that is about bringing the highest end finishes, fit, and touches to a luxury vehicle, is the Rolls-Royce Ghost the way to go over another competitor, the Mercedes S-Class Maybach? So let's go ahead, let's dive in and find out. Right off the bat, the color palette. There is such a wide array of colors that are available on the Ghost. This is called Galileo Blue, and it really makes this vehicle just pop. I mean, you could drive down Rodeo Drive in Beverly Hills and you're definitely going to be seen in this vehicle. Now, at the front of the business, you're going to notice all of our LED lighting, and I love the way that this headlight design really flows nicely into what Rolls-Royce is all about with their overall design. So you can see how we have the LED turn signals, daytime running lamps, and our headlights. Working our way down, you do have full functionality in the center section and in the lower area as well, because we got to bring a lot of cool air for all the heat exchangers, because believe it or not, underneath that hood, we do have twin turbo power. Now, as we come across that other iconic piece of the puzzle, the classic Rolls-Royce grille, we have a forward-facing camera, the Rolls-Royce badge, and of course, the Spirit of Ecstasy. One of those things that when you see it, you know exactly what you're looking at. No other brand has something like that. And the fact that when you look at brands overall getting rid of hood ornaments, to have the Spirit of Ecstasy still there really stands for what the brand is about. But you have full functionality with that classic grille design with the vertical slots down below, flat black, and even more functionality, because like I said, we need lots of cool air to get into that engine compartment, get into the heat exchangers. Now what's interesting is that there is camera technology on the front of this vehicle that when you're driving down the road, it will detect potholes, divots, dips in the asphalt, and it will adjust the compression and rebound damping so that you don't even feel it on the inside. It does it automatically. Very, very special technology. We rise up. You'll notice that this one has a little bit of a two-tone scheme with our metallic silver with the Galileo Blue. Spirit of Ecstasy, I want to showcase that for a second. I have the key fob in my pocket here, and what's cool is that you don't have to worry about somebody stealing your Spirit of Ecstasy. When you lock the doors, Spirit of Ecstasy hides. And then when you're ready to go for your drive, that's when the Spirit of Ecstasy comes back out. Love to see this. And what's really wild is that if somebody does try to steal, like say you forget to lock your doors or whatever, if somebody tries to steal the Spirit of Ecstasy, it will actually retract into its home so that it's protected. Very interesting. Long hood. I like the way there's a little bit of a divot in the center, a little bit of a valley, but that long hood, because guess what? We have 12 cylinders of power underneath that hood. Coming around the bend, what are we working with? Wheel and tire setup. So you're gonna notice that we have these 21-inch wheels. We have the center caps, which are self-centering. So the RR will always be positioned perfect. I know photographers like Steven love to see that when they're filming cars because it just makes it look good overall, like a complete design. You have your V-spoke all the way around, that polished aluminum, metallic gray. You can see our beefy 6-piston Brembo calipers with the Rolls-Royce badge there. The one thing I am gonna have to zonk are the white wall tires. And to be honest with you, I'm getting a little bit of PTSD. When I was a kid growing up, my mom had a Buick Grand Estate wagon, 9-passenger station wagon with the wood grain, and it had white walls even thicker than these. And my dad used to give me a Brillo pad, and I would have to scrub all the black marks off of the white walls. And if I didn't get it done to his liking, he would make me rewash the whole car. But that's what it's all about when you're growing up. And I'm just getting a lot of flashbacks, some weird PTSD right now. But like I said, 21-inch wheel. If you're wondering, Joe, what is the size of this tire? Kind of crazy. We have 255 on the width up front. And then this is a 40 series sidewall all the way around. We do have all-wheel drive. And we have that adaptive suspension all 4 corners. Now, as we go down the side of the vehicle, I love the nice, hard, crisp lines. This is something that the Maybach you're never gonna get. You're never gonna get that with an S-Class. The hard, crisp lines really fit the character of the car. You'll notice that as Steven swings around, you have the Rolls-Royce side marker badge with that side marker LED light. Of course, you're gonna have color match on the mirror caps, 360-degree cameras. These are power folding mirrors when you lock the doors. Nice, shiny, bright metalwork, top and bottom, all the way around the window frames. And then the other cool thing you'll notice in the center is that we have our suicide doors. And we'll talk more about that when we get onto the interior, but check it out. You open up the door, there's that suicide door action. You hit the button, and there she closes. Look at that. Soft close, seals tight like a Wells Fargo safe. And wait until we do the drive on the interior. It really is unbelievable. Now, when we look at the roof, all of the welds, everything is so seamless, so smooth, it looks like one giant piece of metal, which it's not, believe it or not. Coming towards the rear, especially this area here, you still have your hard line, but it's nice and grinded down to where it's so smooth coming into the rear quarter panel. You'll notice how they flare out the bright, shiny metalwork. And then we're looking at the rear tires. You're looking at 285s. So even though this is all-wheel drive, it is rear-wheel drive based. A little bit more rubber to meet the road, and this is a 35 series sidewall. And like I said, the white walls are, I'm gonna have to go see a doctor or something after filming this. But as we come down the rest of the vehicle, that wonderful crisp line coming into our taillights, and just like up front, the bright shiny metalwork, the LED lighting, all of the touches inside the housing. And then we get to the rear of the vehicle, and this is where it screams Rolls-Royce. I mean, I could cover the badge up, and you could tell by the way the rear pillars come into the fenders, the rear glass. All of this is super smooth. They actually sink the glass into the body for that nice smooth airflow, a little bit of a kick up, and then as we work our way down, nothing to see. It's all body colored in that Galileo blue, looking fantastic. But why don't we go ahead, let's pop the hood and talk numbers on this Rolls-Royce. All right, guys, we have that long hood open. I want to show you a couple things before we just jump on into the engine. There is the home, the official home of the Spirit of Ecstasy. That's where she sleeps when the doors are locked. We have that badge here, 6.75 liter V12 with twin turbos, built in Goodwood, England. And then you'll notice all the bracing for the front end of this thing. V12 engine. And one thing I want to show you and point out is how far back the engine sits in the engine compartment. Very close to the firewall. Believe it or not, Rolls-Royce claims that this is a 50-50 weight distribution. But I like the way they did the cover. You can still see some of the other engine bits. You got the Rolls-Royce badge on your engine oil fill cap there. But what are we talking about? We're talking about 6.75 liters, V12 goodness, twin turbocharged goodness, 563 horsepower, 626 pound-feet of torque. It's mated to an 8-speed automatic, that's a ZF 8-speed automatic, with the all-wheel drive, 0 to 60 in 4.2 seconds, top speed 155 miles per hour. The car weighs 5,700 pounds. MPGs, 12 in the city, 19 on the highway. So very nice to see a unique engine setup, not a V8, not supercharged. We're talking about a V12 turbocharged, twin turbocharged engine. Let's go ahead. Let's get to probably a proper home of this, which would be the mall. Let's go to the mall and go on throttle and see this thing move in our Rolls-Royce. All right, guys, we are living the lifestyles of the rich and famous in this 2024 Rolls-Royce Ghost. I know you're saying to yourself, well, Joe, I am getting ready to win the lottery. I went and saw a palm reader, I saw a fortune teller, and I saw a clown. And all of them said that I was going to win the lottery this week in the Powerball. So I'm going to get my ducks in a row, my accountants, my financial advisors, my lawyers, and then I'm going to buy one of these. How much is it? Well, if you want this exact one, which you can have, the way that this one is optioned has an MSRP of $414,000. But let's see where Rolls-Royce earns its credentials. To the door panels. I love all of the leather. Leather all over the door panel. 3 different colors, the black, the creamy white, and then that sky blue finish. There is gloss black around the switchgear for the windows, but other than that, everything is wrapped in leather. You'll notice the buttons in the middle for your massage settings and everything else with your seats. And then the door pocket is a good size to where you could easily get a case, a small case of caviar in there with no problem, and the white contrast stitching. Now, going from the door panel to the dash, the leather continues. I mean, you're wrapped in a leather vehicle here. So the black, the sky blue, you'll notice that we have some white trim, some gloss black, and then of course we're going to have the analog clock in here. Looking very classy. We have a 12.3-inch infotainment system. If it looks like the infotainment system in your BMW from a couple years ago, you would be 100% correct, because it is. It is full touchscreen capability. You have all of your different icons, vehicle settings, all those different things, vehicle status you could get into, whatever you need. It's all within a fingertip touch. Engine oil level, don't even need to get your hands dirty. It will let you know. And then let me go ahead and throw it into reverse. Backup camera is amazing. Look how clear the resolution is. You do have Smart Park 360 cams, so you got it all covered when it comes to the camera angles. And we have rear wheel steer, which makes this sedan a breeze to drive in tight parking lot situations. Of course, we have the classy style to their AC vents, very aeronautical. You actually push and pull these levers to open and close the airflow. You have your volume knob, door locks, then you have your toggle switches for the sound system, a bespoke 18 speaker sound system with over 1,500 watts of power, AC controls. And look at the way they do it when you go Rolls-Royce, soft, medium, high, max. So if you just want like a whisper, like somebody just slightly blowing on your neck, you could go soft, or you go all the way up to max. You could adjust the temperatures. Heated seats, of course, ventilated seats, heated steering wheel, and then you have more white trim. Open up door number 1. Whoops. 2 cup holders. You got the Spirit of Ecstasy badge on our iDrive controller knob. This is a BMW iDrive controller knob, so this is another way to go through the infotainment system. These switches are to close the doors, which I'm going to show you when we get done with each part. Open this up. This is where you're going to keep your Rolex. So you're just going to drop that in there. All the felt lining will keep it nice and protected. And then you just close it up like that. Look how nice everything closes. The leather, the stitching, the attention to detail. This is all hand stitched, not by robots. Open it up. You got felt lining in here, wireless charger, USB-C, and you could easily put your iPhone 47 Platinum in this. Or if you're lucky enough to get one of the 24 karat gold iPhones, you can keep that in here and it's not going to get scratched. Seats. The leather is so soft. The Rolls-Royce, I am going to zonk that. They should have made the Rolls-Royce embroidery a little larger, but the material is to die for. Of course, full power assist for the passenger, full power assist for the driver. And if you're wondering why is there no sunroof or panoramic roof, it's because you have this perforated leather headliner with the Starlighter lights in it. So you get this twinkle of lighting, LED lighting in the headliner, which you wouldn't be able to have if you had the sunroof. And that's a Rolls-Royce specific touch. But we're going to come over to the business side and show you behind the wheel. But watch this. I can shut that door. You ready? I'll see you on the business side in T-1 Mississippi. But as you can see, closing the doors in this Ghost, it's like a Ghost close the door. But why don't you come over to the business side? I want to show you behind the wheel of this Rolls. All right, guys, business time behind the wheel. Love the nice large opening and the way the door is very far the way. You have this beautiful aluminum stainless, almost like a stainless steel plate down here. And then you'll notice how just plush the floor mats are. It's like a teddy bear. I almost don't want to put my feet on them. Chrome railing for your seats, which is crazy. And then all your power seat controls are easy to get to. I'm 6 feet tall and I feel fantastic in here, especially with the leather and everything. Speaking of leather, of course, you're going to have two-tone on the steering wheel, the white with the black, the Rolls-Royce badge. You got some chrome actuated buttons here. Your start-stop engine is to the button is to the left of the steering wheel, and this is a power tilting and telescoping steering wheel. And then you do have your column shifter for that 8-speed automatic, very specific to the Rolls-Royce, and then that dash. I love the way it's digital, but they're all gauges. Very, very nice display, clean, clear, consistent. And on top of that, of course, you have a hood, a head-up display. But why don't we go ahead? I feel like this is where your chauffeur's going to be sitting after you win the Powerball. Let's see where really you're going to be enjoying the high life in the backseat of the Ghost. All right, guys, don't adjust your computers, your phone, or whatever. I know I'm supposed to be sitting in the backseat, but before I do, I just want to show you, like I said, suicide doors. Now, the reason why they call these suicide doors is not only by the way that they open, but back in the day, all cars had doors that open like this for the rear. And back in the day, they didn't have any safety equipment like seat belts. So what would sometimes happen is if the door accidentally was to open and you go to close it or try to close it, there's a high chance you're going to fall out. Because, I'm going to say it again, back in the day, a lot of roads were not very well paved. So you hit a bump, you go to close the door, and now you're getting run over by your own car. So That's why they call them suicide doors. One of the fancy touches on this Ghost, of course, is your Rolls-Royce. Actually says it right there, Rolls-Royce branded umbrella. Nice touch for those rainy days. And yes, each door for the rear gets one of these umbrellas that locks right in. And then why don't you come on in and I'll show you what's going on in here. So super duper soft, super duper comfortable. Feel bad getting all this dirt in here. But sitting back here, you could see the amount of room that we have. I got the starry lights to just kind of be in amazement of. Seats are so comfy. You do have AC vents built into the frame with that same push-pull action. You have your button to drop down your rear trays, which are nice. So you're just gonna hit that button and the trays drop down. And then we have a little bit of a command center. Same story, push-pull on the AC vents. You have your soft, medium, high, max. Heated seats, no ventilated seats. No ventilated seats for over $400,000. That's a zonk, but I'm glad that they give you your luxury Twinkie tray. And if you're wondering, Joe, what's a luxury Twinkie? It's a Twinkie that instead of the vanilla cream, they fill the center with caviar. That's your high-end luxury style Twinkie. But sitting back here is where you really get to realize just the construction of this vehicle, how they constructed the roof. Everything is all about purifying the interior space of outside noise, which if you think about with a V12 underneath the hood and a lot of things going on outside the vehicle, that's actually quite hard to do. And Rolls-Royce, you'll see when we go for the drive, they do it like no other brand. Of course, you could pull down this bad boy, semi-soft. You have your compartment with felt lining, a 12 volt. This is where you could put your 1 pound bag of luxury Skittles. If you're wondering, well, what is a luxury Skittle? That's where they're all gold. Makes sense. Some of that nice white porcelain material. And then you push that. There's your 2 cup holders for your cappuccinos, or whatever the heck, your latte, your frappa lappa crappa, whatever you got going on there. And then that just folds right back up. Look at that, seamless. But why don't we go ahead, let's get to the trunk, because I want to be your chauffeur. I want to take you for an on-throttle drive in this Rolls-Royce Ghost. All right, guys, time to get in the trunk. Real simple. Just hit that electric assist, opens up so smoothly. One thing that's kind of cool is you'll notice they actually have an outline drawing of the Ghost instead of just having a generic car or something like that. But even though this is their smallest vehicle, you're still going to be greeted to a large amount of room. 18 cubic feet of space. You can see more of that thick ply carpet that you're going to get. Underneath the back, you'll notice you have a first aid kit. That's perfect because when you're counting your bags of money, if you get a paper cut, you're going to want some Band-Aids. But nice to have this amount of room in a sedan. But let's get to it. I mean, enough of the small talk. If you're ready, I'm ready. Let's go an opulence on throttle in this Rolls-Royce Ghost. All right, guys, here we are living the lifestyles of the rich and famous in this 2024 Rolls-Royce Ghost. Right away, you're gonna probably have one of the most serene driving experiences in your whole entire life. The way that the coach builders of Rolls-Royce build the frame, build the chassis, build the body, all the sound deadening material, the thick acoustic glass, it really just creates a unique, special environment inside this Ghost. And like I said, with it being the smallest in their 3-car lineup, don't let that fool you. Driving the vehicle is so simple because you have that rear wheel steer that allows the vehicle to turn very quickly, very smoothly. And then of course you have that twin turbo 6.7 liter V12 underneath the hood. Looking out across that basically aircraft carrier expansion of metal for the hood. You see the Spirit of Ecstasy guiding the way for you. So much history just in that one hood ornament, and how it still exists on this 2024 model year vehicle. But the nice thing is that not only does it give you tons of luxury, but you're also gonna be able to get some on-throttle performance. And you're gonna be able to do it with your tux on, with your three-piece suit, with a Rolex, your hands covered in rings and jewels, and yet the car is so quick. It's deceptively quick, and it has all-wheel drive. So you got rear-wheel steer and all-wheel drive. But brakes feel great. Of course, those massive 6-piston Brembo calipers. And visibility is fantastic in here. But if you're ready, I'm ready. On throttle, here we go. 8-speed drops down and we're off. If you gotta get to the bank to make that big deposit that you have, this is gonna get you there very quick. And then of course in comfort, the massage seats, the types of leathers that they use, all the different materials are just the highest end. So if you're comparing this to a Bentley, if you're comparing this even to a Mercedes Maybach, that's the big difference between a Rolls-Royce and those other brands, is that the materials everywhere are top end. They don't have a place, you know, normally manufacturers have areas where you don't really touch, where maybe they might not use the most expensive materials. That's not the way with Rolls-Royce. Everywhere, even the places you may never touch, have the highest level of materials. I mean, think about the frame rails for the seats. They're chrome. I don't know any other brand that does that. Getting to the 12.3-inch infotainment system is well within reach. And if you have your special leather gloves that were flown over from Italy and you're wearing those, if the screen doesn't work well with the gloves, you don't have to take the gloves off. You could use that direct drive control knob with the Spirit of Ecstasy on there to navigate through the infotainment system. But the gauges, so crisp, so clear, not shared with any other vehicle. It's just the infotainment system, like I said, is the older BMW multimedia system. And for some people that might be a great thing, because maybe you've had experience with it before. Maybe you don't need the latest when it comes to technology, but what you crave is high-end opulence. And this vehicle brings it 20-fold. But we're gonna get out onto the highway and just show that this thing is like riding on a cloud. And I mean that in the best of ways. It's so smooth. We have the cameras mounted up front that are scanning the road right now. You don't even have to do anything. They're scanning the road so that if there's a pothole, if there's a manhole cover, it's going to adapt the suspension, because we have the adaptive suspension. It's going to change the suspension settings so that you don't feel it, or you feel it lesser than in any other vehicle that you could be in. That's the technology that Rolls-Royce brings to the table. But we have a nice clear head-up display, mirrors, good size, great visibility, and then on throttle, here we go. When you gotta merge or you gotta get on the highway, this thing's gonna get you there, no problem. And it's not about bringing the outside experience in. You know, if this was like, say, a Ferrari and you had a V12, that engine experience would be brought into the cabin through sound. This vehicle is all about eliminating any of the outside noises from getting in. But it's just such a unique driving experience. And then of course the people in the back seat are gonna be pampered because of all the room that they have back there. You have your automatic dropping electric service trays. They could have, you know, some brioche, some caviar, and whatever else they want. because you're in a Rolls-Royce. You're in a Rolls-Royce Ghost. They get to have whatever they want. All right, guys, like I said, with the rear wheel steer, you'll see as we're making a U-turn here underneath the overpass, it's a piece of cake. And the steering is very light. It's not heavy at all, but it's interesting because it's light, but it's direct. It's not like all numb, which can happen with some cars, especially luxury cars. So that's a very nice feeling. Going over that ripped over piece of pavement. I've been in other cars where it's really shaken, not stirred the vehicle. Not with this Rolls-Royce, that's for sure. And I was thinking of a Cadillac because I was driving a Cadillac that got all shaken up. This, not even a whimper out of the chassis. But like I said, if you need to get to the store to pick up the last of the Grey Poupon, this is gonna get you there. Because even at a highway cruising speed, when you go on throttle, it gets up and goes. Watch. On throttle, 8-speed drops down, we're off. Really, really special experience being behind the wheel of this car. I hope that this has kind of shown you how the 1% gets it done when they are looking at their four-wheel transportation. But we're gonna get back to where it all started and wrap this one up. So I'll see you in a split second. All right, guys, it's been one of those days where you're just like, wow. So this is how the 1% of the population travel in, is something like this 2024 Rolls-Royce Ghost. I gotta thank everybody at Rolls-Royce for allowing us access to this press fleet vehicle. Let me know what you think. If you had the means, are you gonna go all in and just go for the gusto and get the Rolls-Royce Ghost? Or are you thinking an S-Class Maybach is the way to go? Let me know down in that comment section. But if you're new to the channel and you're on your way out, hit that subscribe button. I promise you it's worthwhile. Come back for more. If you are a subscriber, thank you for being part of the Ladies Rides family. Of course, we need to give it up. Stephen Flood Photography. He actually suggested that we wear suits. I know normally that's just not my thing, but he's actually wearing a full 3-piece suit while we film this Rolls-Royce Ghost. So we definitely got to thank Stephen for his dedication to style and fashion. And just like always, guys, I'll see you on the next ride.